Hi folks, John Cordisco here. Another game from round one of the U.S. Championships 2016. One of my favorite events, not because I'm American, it's just a great event and a beautiful, beautiful St. Louis Chess Club and Scholastic Center. Great. Boy, I'll tell you, I wish I lived by there. Of course, I'd probably give up most of my life hanging out there. But anyway, it's a great game. As white, former U.S. champion Alexander Shabalov. And as black, Ray Robson, young guy, top player in juniors in the world. His scholastic team, I should say college team, from Webster has won the championship 4 years in a row. So Ray's a great player. Let's get to it. It's going to be an open Catalan, another one. Go through the opening a little bit here. Knight F3, G3, typical stuff. You really can't keep that pawn. Bishop E7. Technically, black's up a pawn, but let's just stop and take a look at this here. Great center for white. Black's got a lot of action on the queen side. We're going to see how this works out. E5. I'm sure this is all book. Knight. You don't want to take. If you do take, a couple of things happen. One, the fact is you straighten out his pawns. And the knight's a lot better on E4. Knight D7, Bishop G5, castles. Get that knight right in there. Now you can see, of course, can't play bishop takes because you lose the queen. So bishop takes, knight takes, the pawn, queen E7, A4, and bishop H6. This backs off that bishop a little bit. Black's still up a pawn technically, but we're going to put that knight on B7. D6 square looks really good. A takes, C takes, knight D6, of course. Now that knight's right in the bone in the throat of black's position, but it looks a lot scarier than it really is. Now look at black here. We got 3 pawns against 1. We'll see how that works out, especially the C pawn. Knight comes over. Knight takes. As you can see, a computer did that. White is ganging up on the A7 pawn. Queen to B4. Knight goes back to D6. Now, should he take that pawn? Should he take that pawn? We're going to see. Queen takes. And this is an interesting move by Shabalov. Computer likes rook to B1. I kind of do too. He says to go rook A5. And I'm not sure how accurate that was. Knight C3. Here comes the black pieces. Queen A1. Now this is a move that's really, really hard to find. And think of these complicated middle games, it's really tough. One thing you have to remember there's a hidden discovery against this rook. This knight moves. Bishop C1. Queen has to take, basically. Give you an idea about rook takes. Queen takes. Queen takes. Knight checks. King moves, knight takes, and white is busted. Queen takes, bishop takes, knight to D2. Now it shows white getting up on the C pawn. That's the dangerous pawn for black. Knight D2, king has to move. Rook A to B8. It looks like black's pieces are starting to come alive. Knight takes, knight takes. Knight takes, bishop takes, F4. Well, it looks pretty good here. Passed pawn is gone, but I still like black. Black's pieces have a lot more play. G6, rook to A2 to hit the knight. Knight goes to C3. And then rook just goes to D2, hitting the bishop. Bishop just retreats back. White has to be careful here. I see a lot of... You have the knight here in the position. You have the bishop. The rook's going to be coming down here soon. Rook to d3 to chase the knight off. Knight goes to a4. Rook comes down. What to do, what to do? Rook to c2. Bishop b4. This is starting to get complicated. Those minor pieces all over the place make it really tough. Rook to a1, hitting the knight. Knight goes to c3. Now, do you take the pawn? No, you play bishop f1. Just to keep things closed up, especially around your king. Knight to b5. King to g2. Rook comes over. Rook a to c2. Now you're doubling up, and it looks like pretty good for white, right? Rook to c7, just to guard the pawn. Rook to a4. Are they going to draw this? What's going to happen here? Bishop c5. Just maneuvering around. Knight goes to c3. Rook hits the knight again. Now the bishop guards the knight. Move the rook. You want to maybe double up on the a file again. Rook to d4. Knight to d6. Now it looks pretty good for white here, doesn't it? Rook goes to d2 check. Here come black's pieces. King to h3. What to do, what to do? He goes h5. Now you look at that meeting that's here. You get the knight, starts coming in. Here, here. King's pretty boxed in. Bishop g2 is the only way to really save this. Knight to e4 maybe. He went knight e8. And bingo, just like that, it's over. Can you find the move? Stop the video. Knight to e2. And what happens with that is the discovery on the other rook. And that's where Shabalov resigns to give you an idea. You have to check. King moves. Bishop takes. Rook takes. Bishop takes. Pawn takes. Rook takes. Give you an idea of the continuation. Knight. King g6. And white is just busted. Anyway, folks, that was a great game from Ray. That knight to e2, tough to find, those backward moves. Anyway, folks, that's the last game I'm going to show from round 1 of the U.S. Chess Championship 2016. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.